Hi, it's my third day here at the beautiful haven on Gabriola Island, and I'm trying to get in the background. You can see how stunning the Pacific is, and the trees, and the rocks, and I think I saw a seal. So yeah, just tons and tons of natural beauty to use as a place of reflection and a place of meeting. I wanted to share this exercise. Our facilitators are amazing people and they're really busy. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get one of them to walk through it with me. So maybe I'll just try to run it down for you. What we worked on yesterday a little bit was looking at things that disturb us, what our facilitator, Julie Diamond, called disturbances. And those things, she said, are a source of enormous power for us if we can learn to recognize them and work with them and not let them, derail or disrupt us or use it as forces for the worst parts of us. And so she did a bit of body work with us, which is interesting. I'm feeling a bit self-conscious about trying to do this on video to a national audience, but here it goes. Okay, so the idea was to find something that really, first of all, identify who we are as group participants, say as activists, everybody's favorite, the committee meeting. Who are you in that committee meeting? I know for me, I'm pretty mindful of difference. I'm pretty striving consciously to be as inclusive as possible. And I try to maintain a pretty smooth tone. I don't like conflict. I don't like, people getting really aggressive and confrontational with each other. So that's something that, for whatever reason really bugs me. So we were then asked to reflect upon what triggers or bugs us, what creates those disturbances. And for me, it's, or even a type of person who does that to us in a group or, someplace we're working with other activists. For me, it's always the people who I see as really sort of self-righteous. They've got all the answers. They're a better activist than you, or so they think. They want to tell everybody what to do and how to do it, and, they've got the lingo down and the buzzwords, and, they're not very forgiving of other people's mistakes, which I think is, a form of bullying. So we were asked to come up with some kind of body language that would express that. Oh my God. Okay, so what do I do? So I kind of came up with the phallic forefinger. Rah, you, j'accuse, you're wrong. And kind of turn that into our facial expressions. So for me, there'd be sort of a sneer. You're wrong. And haha, I'm better than you and I know the answers. So, so we were asked to just stay with that body language because that feels very alien for me, that sort of poing. Blah, 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 blah. See? Oh my God, my finger's enormous. So then we're supposed to stay with it and slow it down and kind of, think about how it feels to be doing that. And one of the things that came to me immediately was how nice it is to feel such clarity, to be able to point out an enemy and to say, you're the problem, and not to be so, wishy-washy, like maybe they're a nice person really, or, they've got their stories, and it's, no, like I call you out, you're wrong. So yeah, that kind of felt good, being able to do that a little bit. And the sneer, having fun sort of mocking and deriding others, which is something that kind of appeals to me. And yeah, doing this, so you're asked to sort of do it slowly. Some people folded their arms and got all rigid or all stubborn, bullheaded. Yeah, so all of these things that bother us about other people we interact with in groups or, that we facilitate. And as we make that gesture, how do we then kind of use it for us? What does it say about us? So I started to realize I really like certainty and confidence. I'd like more of that. I'd like to be able to, identify some absolutes and to have some kind of grounding for my moral compass. So yeah, thinking through that, my fingers started to, go up like, hey, I have an idea, join me. So I kind of took that gesture and made it my own, and came to realize how that source of power, that certainty, that confidence, that position of, being able to call other people out and tell them where they've gone wrong infuriates me. But at the same time, it's infuriates me precisely because I would like to have some more of that sense of confidence and certainty in my own activist work. So, interesting exercise, eh? I thought it was. It was tough. You felt like very silly doing the facial expressions and the body language, but you kind of have to, otherwise it doesn't really work, because you're thinking about it intellectually. And one of the things that this training is showing me as an academic is that connection between what is heartfelt and what is realized intellectually is often missing. And it's important to, as one facilitator said, kind of open up those channels between the head and the heart when we talk about bias. And we need to know how it feels, how it hurts. When we talk about privilege, we need to know how it feels to have it or not have it. When we talk about power, how does it feel to have it or not have it? And not just feel it in our heads, but to feel it in our bodies, and to be mindful of our bodies as well, because we run around like a lot of robots with our heads cut off, or live in our heads and don't acknowledge our bodies. So how often do we take the time to really sit, reflect, breathe? For me, that used to be what smoking was all about, and then I quit. So now to be able to take this time and to be mindful is a great privilege, and I'm glad to share it with you. Like I said, I hope you find it useful and interesting. Going back to the kind of body work, again, we were asked today to visualize spots or places that made us feel very peaceful, to look at, to think about those things that bothered us, to identify places on our bodies where they bothered us. I don't know if that makes any sense. For me, for example, again, that sort of bullying behavior, where does it make you angry? For me, it's sort of deep down in my belly. I get this like fiery knot that just threatens to whoosh up through my head, and I go, rah, I want to just tear into people. So I was sort of zooming in on that and the source of that great anger and that fiery knot. Thinking about how then do you imagine a place where, you can challenge that feeling, where you can get strong. For me, it was imagining a beautiful experience I had once of being able to go kayaking in the Shikshaks in the Gaspi Peninsula, which is one of the most gorgeous places on the planet, and coming down a mountain river on my little kayak, and then suddenly coming out into the St. Lawrence Seaway and being on this big blue swell all of a sudden, just going up and down and up and down, and feeling like, this big oceanic hand had got me and was just rocking me. I had a similar feeling when I was in Jamaica and I was swimming and pregnant with my daughter. So we were asked to keep coming back to that place and locate that as a place from which to balance ourselves. What does that say about me? Obviously, being in a kayak, a need for balance, a need for equilibrium, even as you're part of a bigger picture. And then from that place, how do you contend with your disturbance, your sense of ire at bullying or marginalization or not allowing other people to have their dignity? Yeah, that was an interesting exercise for me. I'm very grateful for that visualization, for having been given or reminded of that place of power from within myself. So I think that's going to help me in activist work on those, on committees, when we're trying to hammer something out, when somebody who I need to be working with or need to be an ally with is irritating the hell out of me. I think that's going to, remind me to be a little more conscious of places of power in myself from which to be more useful as an ally, as a team member, as an activist. So, very grateful for these lessons I'm learning. And the facilitators are doing a great job. I'm really happy with this program. I'm going to link to it again, so if anybody's curious and they're interested in taking it, I consider it really well worth it. You know, that's my plug, completely, entirely unsolicited. It's a great program. I wish we all had the time to, and the energy and the resources to be able to do work like this every now and then, because we don't look at our inner work. We look at, exterior work, social work. We don't look at inner work that sometimes we need to be aware of. So I'm really thankful for this. Okay, have a good day, and I might tune in later. And try to see that ocean, see that art, see that place.